Hi, here are a part of post-processing of the first video that I did and the shots. If you're expert in the Photoshop, probably it will not be interesting for you, but for beginners it will be okay, I think. The first issue is what color space you work in. If you choose an RGB color space, as probably most of us do, there are some issues that we can run some problem with color shift. You see, this image is in RGB color space, and this one is in LAB color space. And the big advantage why we should use LAB, after watching Dan Margulies videos, you can say that the lightness channel of LAB color space is treated separately from A and B color space. I mean A and B that are colors, and L is luminance. And with RGB, all the channels treated together, and you have no control over one of the. You can probably run on only R or G or B colors, but you cannot run on lightness because there is not luminance here in RGB. And there is also lack of HSL color space that it's the most intuitive one because it is hue that we all know what's about, the saturation of the hue, and the luminosity. The most simple one for us to understand, but Photoshop didn't implement that issue, that color space. So why it's better to work here in LAB? For example, if we do some adjustments from this panel, there are not all of them available in LAB color space, so we can go back and forth to switch and to enable, for example, this or this adjustment, but still here we have advantage that the L channel is treated separately, and when we do some adjustments like brightness, contrast or curves, then we are not getting much intense color shift. For example, here is I applied 51 of contrast. It's LAB color space, and here is RGB color space with the same value. But see the difference right now. See the difference in color. While here we were getting less intense colors, here we are getting a little bit more saturated ones. And that's because RGB treated and the contrast treats all the RGB instead of LAB that we can it applies it only to L channel. But in RGB color space we can see, you see, by the way, you see that I switched to normal, and if you compare it to normal, it's even more, it's bigger a change in color shift, you see. And so the solution, if you are in RGB color space, if you want to apply the brightness contrast, and it's better to apply it on a luminance channel or curves on a luminance channel, you just can choose the luminance and see the difference in hue. You see that the hue here is much less intense compared to the normal, but still in LAB we're getting much lesser effect because the original picture is even this one. So here we are getting the minimal effect of color of hue, of more saturated hue in LAB color space. And here is in RGB it will be much more, but in luminosity mode it's still pretty nice. And you can switch back and forth but the problem with switching is that sometimes you lose your adjustments, some of your adjustments. So better to stay in one color space, I think, to choose and to go maybe to switch once if you for the final retouching. Okay. Another issue is with for this type of shots that I made, and you will see all the images on the below this video. One of the issues when you pour water and you have to catch the moment, right? If you wait too much, that's what happens. You see the circle. If you get it right, you will get the circles. And if this circle already hits the corner of the glass, if you do it in time, you will not get it. And you see also here the little wave that you have to deal with later in post-production to straighten it if you want. So timing is very important here. In terms of waiting, as I said earlier, if you not cover the aquarium, you will get dust after probably 2 weeks, and I just want to demonstrate the difference. Here is the clean bottle, pretty clean, and this is the first time that I switched on air pump and all the bubbles came up this way. They're coming from this direction up. But if I wait some seconds, you see all the dust, you catch all the dust because of the contrast between the black shampoo and the dust itself that is white. So cover the aquarium, it's better solution. In terms of saturation, here is a shot. I like this. And the problem with the web that I encounter all the time that when you save for web, that's what you get. You see the difference in hue, in the saturation of the color, and that's the problem of the saving for web. And if you save with 100%, it's better, and for sure from experience. But the problem with 100% is that when you apply 100%, you can get probably 1 megabyte of file, and it's not good for web. And if you reduce to 70%, you will get this. And my solution was to just mask the bottle and then apply more saturation or vibrance and then save it. And that what you can get. You see? More saturated and more close to the original PSD file. And it's better solution. I don't know, I can figure out right now other solution for that problem, because the colors here in the cucumber are a little bit more saturated than I want, because I didn't apply mask here. But anyway, if I applied it right, it would not be such intense here. And as you can see, it's much closer to the original PSD than this one that is not saturated. Okay, next is the lens blur. When you do sharpening, because of the motion of the bubbles from bottom up, it's better to apply motion blur in direction of 90 degrees instead of regular sharpen. And as you can see these strips, and they are better sharpened then in this case is a regular sharpen, and here is a motion sharpening. Also, I found that the sharpening with a high pass of I'll show. Here is the difference between unsharp mask, and I think unsharp mask works the best way here with linear light blend mode. And you see it's pretty subtle difference between if you apply 1.4 pixels vs 3 pixels or vs 2 pixels. With 3 pixels and up you can gain here halo, but with 2 pixels it's not visible, and the sharpness, you can see the sharpness with 2 pixels is much better for those images. Why I did sharpness? Why I need that? Because my shutter speed was very low because of the Yongnuo transmitters, and they can the maximum they give me is 1/160 of the second, and there is no way I can get sharp picture. So applying smart sharpen for motion as a first step, and then unsharp mask as a first step, will give me very good result. As you can see, it's pretty sharp here. One of the last issues with Liquify. Why I remind this? Because if you will get waves like here, and here it's not so so big, not a big wave, but still, let me show you the initial one. You see, you can see here wave, but and it's not problem. If a shot is good enough, you can fix it. Not to what you can do is the Liquify, as you know, right? Here is a Liquify applied once, and you see it's very you can do it in 20 seconds and solve the problem. You have to do it very gently, because otherwise you will get a distorted plate, I know, plane. And the additional problem with this Liquify tool is that the mesh that they show is affected by my what I'm doing here. You see, the mesh is distorted, so I can't, when I do some when I apply here with this tool, forward wrap tool, when I apply this to straighten the wave, the mesh also distorted, and I don't have here static grid or mesh to see the, and that's what I need. I don't need that the mesh will become distorted also. I want to see when I really do it straight, and that's the disadvantage, I think, of this tool. I mentioned before the linear light blend mode, and I want to show you in reality how it why it's better. So if I duplicate the image, and then I'm going to high pass filter with 2.1 radius pixels, and I apply the overlay blend mode. As you can see, before and after, it's it's better sharpness. But when I apply for example soft light or hard light, we see maybe better sharpness. But see the linear light, you see, the linear light is the best for this type of shot. One of the problems, additional problems, is color cast or color shift. Here in this example we have to think or with other examples that we shoot our products, we have to think about color cast. In this example, as you can see, I have a blue background, right? And if I just color sampler, you see this color sampler, you have these 11, 13 and 17 values on RGB. And if it has to be pure real black or tint of black or gray, all the three values have to be the same. The better way, if you have around 15 value for blacks, and if you have 0 for all the RGB, it's not good, it's clipped, and you can't do with it much. You have to recover and problem starts. When you leave it at 15, it's still black for the eye, but you can tweak these values up or down if you want. That's the advantage of having 15 or in this region. Now I want in this black bottle to have the same values because it's pure black, right? If maybe the client asks. So I will show you two very short techniques, and then you will say if you really like this color removal, the blue, especially the blue one, to get even values. So I will do, you can mask it and work on this area. I will do it another way. I will just do it with color range. So I just click on all the black areas, as you can see. Now I have this mask. Okay, all areas selected. I don't want to be influence on this area, so I just remove it with this subtraction tool. I just do it very quickly for the demonstration. Now I will go to image adjustment and desaturate. As you can see, the color cast was removed, but I really don't like the result, especially this. Now it becomes to the real yellowish tint, and it's even worse than, for me, than the blue tint on the bottle. Okay, now if you want a less effect, you can go to adjustment and adjust it with hue saturation. Sorry, by the way, hue saturation didn't help me so much in this case. So what I'm doing is I'm going to levels. With levels, I can tweak each channel, especially the blue one. I'm going, you see, before and after, so I got 15 value, and the green channel I will go, I'll raise it a little bit, 15, right? And the red value I'll raise it and I will get the 15. Now I have perfect on one sampled point. I have a perfect perfect black point, and I will click OK here. And now let's see the difference. Difference is also we are getting something very similar to the saturation, because it's what it is, right? All the three values are equal, but still it's not a good result. Maybe color cast, heavy color cast, you have to deal with that, but sometimes I think it's not worth trying to remove that because of the result. You can see that blue cast here plays well. Also you see that I, by mistake, I added many unwanted areas, especially this revitalizing gel and all this. That's because I didn't do the selection right. So if I'll go again to the selection, color range, I'll just add this and till now I'm not getting this. I just selected the area, you see. But now if I'll go to quick mask, and if I'll click here, you can see the black areas are selected all over. See inside, all the black. This one are not selected. All the colors, only the black values, right? And I think that's it for the color cast. Another issue, just the workflow. If you're working on multiple files, and in my case, my lens are not as good as it could be. So even before I apply any adjustments in the camera raw, I open all the files that I have in camera raw, I select all of them, and then I apply this lens profile corrections and chromatic aberration. Then I close all of them. And then another very cool feature in camera raw that is not, I think it's not available in Photoshop Inside, is that you can do here some adjustment even before you retouch in Photoshop. One of them that I like most is this tool, that adjustment brush. You can set all the parameters and paint. And very cool feature here is auto mask, because that's what I think missing in Photoshop, that you can this tool detects the edge and paint only on the area inside the object. Let me just demonstrate. You see, this side is not lit good way. I think it's too dark, and that's because, by the way, when you pour water on the bottle gets little bit, maybe a half inch or more inside the water. And if your light is not high enough from the side to lit this, because this part is it's upside down, right? So this part is in the bottom of the shot, and it's not lighted good. And that was my problem. So if I just let's say one stop plus, I paint here, as you can see, even the brush size is bigger, it's not affecting the outside area of the bottle. And that's the beauty of this particular tool. Things that I want to mention is I mentioned before the blend mode, linear blend mode, and I will show you that this linear blend mode does for me a very good job when I apply high pass filter in order to sharpen my picture. So if I'll go to high pass with 2 pixel radius, and then I go to not to overlay mode, it's better, right? It's better, but it's not as linear light. Now you can see just within one blend mode, within one type of sharpening, I already getting this pretty good sharpening. See? Before, after. Okay. Another issue is a problem with cleaning and cloning. When you use these tools, the stamp clone tool and the healing brush tool, the problem with the tools that they don't leave a texture behind it in many cases. So for example, if I use just regular spot healing brush tool, and I for example, you see these white regions that are left here because of the reflection and all the stuff. If you just remove it, as you can see, it removes the white, but it also leaves very smooth untextured behind it. And for me it's not good, so maybe you can fade it a little bit with for example 50%, so you see before and after, and it's better leaving the texture, but still not good enough. Also, if you use a clone stamp tool and you just erase this region, just clone, and with 100%, it will not leave the texture behind it. And if you go to 50%, it's better, but it's leaving some texture, but it's not does not remove the white regions, all the white regions, in a good way. Many instances. For example, here it's better. And the other solution for that is that you can just use some of the techniques that I showed before in previous demonstration, when you copy or duplicate the layer, and then you go filtering, you go to the filter and add in dust and scratches for all the image, and then you just mask it with all the black, and then paint with white when you where you want to apply this region, and find the threshold that you want. But that's another technique that I showed before, so maybe it's worth watching the technique when you blur all the image and with some threshold, and then you go back and paint back the texture, but not the dust. And in this case, the dust is just a blue. It can be anything, not just the dust, but the white regions instead of blue in this case. And if you know some other techniques, or if you have improvements, if you have better techniques or improvements over techniques I showed, and it's some of mine, it's not general technique, it's some of mine techniques that I use, so please share here in this post, and it will be good to see some other better techniques, better ways or faster ways to deal with all that problems. Okay, so thank you. The last issue that is not related to the shooting is the backups of the images. One issue that you can run into it, if you lose your images, by mistake, or you delete them from recycle bin, or for example you shoot with tethered software and you uninstall the software, and this software deleted all the images, and it wasn't even in the recycle bin. It was somewhere in the program directory, and then you just erased it, and it's not on recycle bin, and don't know where to find it. So I just want to show you the program that can solve you many issues with if you lose some pictures and you won't get them back out of hell even. Within 20 minutes of working with this software, you can get all your image back, and it get data back software from runtime, and you see it's all for NTFS and for FAT software, and you can get and recover all your images if you lost them by mistake and you don't know, even you can't find it in recycle bin, you still will be able to get them back. That's it, I think. Thank you for listening, and see you later.